This short video will tell you how to use the CaucusClick system for voting in your caucus. Now, we only have this video as training for people who are going to be managing the voting. So this will be the precinct chair or someone designated by the precinct chair. We do not have a video for people who just are showing up to vote. If that requires a video, then the system is obviously way too complicated. So the first thing that's important to note is this is a technical video, and you should follow the instructions of your party leaders. If they're telling you to do something different or how to do the voting, whatever, then you should give heed to their instructions. Nothing that I say overrides the instructions of your party leaders. So here's some things that you need to do to be able to do CaucusClick voting. First is practice in advance. Now, we just saw the Iowa Democrats collapse miserably with their voting app, and we learned from the news reports that many people were having trouble downloading the app and didn't know how to use it. Well, obviously, if you're downloading the app on the day that you're supposed to use it, you don't know how to use it, you haven't been trained. So let's not do it that way. Let's do it the right way, and let's make sure that we get the app in advance and practice enough so that you have confidence, you know how it works and that it does work, and then you won't be embarrassed in front of your caucus. You'll also require authorization codes in advance. You'll be able to order through the app authorization codes to be emailed to you. These authorization codes serve three purposes. First of all, they prevent anyone from voting in your precinct that doesn't have an authorization code. So it prevents people from other precincts from voting in your precinct. It prevents people who are not authorized to vote from voting in precinct. It restricts people from voting more than once. People can actually vote as many times as they want, but it only counts one vote per authorization code. And it also allows you to share devices in a way that I'm going to describe for you in a minute. So everyone has to get a unique authorization code. We can't use the phone number, by the way, because that would not be private. So we don't use any information from the phone. Everything is completely anonymous because these voter authorization codes are handed out at random. You also need to decide how to handle people who will have technical problems. So there will be people who don't have a smartphone, they don't have a data plan, and do not try to use the Wi-Fi. It won't be fast enough. There'll be too many people trying to use the Wi-Fi. Everyone generally has a data plan anyway. It's not that big of a deal. If someone does not have a data plan, then they will not be able to use their device, but maybe they can use someone else's devices. So there's a few ways of doing it. Now, one time I did it this way. I simply, I was handing out the authorization codes, and I said, look, if you can't make this work on your phone, or you can't download it or whatever, or you don't want to use it, then you just turn in your authorization code, and I'll give you a yellow 3x5 card. And that's your voting credential, a yellow 3x5 card, or whatever you want to print them up, however fancy you want to be. Then what we did is we had about 150 people, and about 10 people wanted to vote on paper ballots. And if you have a yellow card, you can vote on paper ballots. So then we had everybody vote using the app, except for we picked up 10 ballots from these 10 electronic Luddites, and we just counted their paper votes, and then we added it to the totals from the electronic voting, and that was our outcome. The biggest problem there is getting the math right when you add the paper ballots in. So I think a better solution is to provide extra voting stations. Now, if you're using the CaucusClick caucus system for registration, you probably already have 6 to 8 people who are checking in already using a tablet. So during the voting, you just say, okay, if you have a problem with your device or you don't have a device, then you go to one of these this table, and they will help you to vote. And the person who wants to vote takes their authorization code, puts it into the tablet, does their vote, and then log out, and then that tablet can be used by somebody else. Same way that you can share devices. So if you have a couple there and only one of them has a smartphone, or if they don't have one, but they're, somebody sitting next to them has a smartphone, they can share smartphones. And the way that works is the voter puts in their authorization code, then they vote, then they log out, and they just hand the phone to the next person. And then the next person puts in their authorization code, and then they vote and log out. And that way, people can pass the devices back and forth. You can vote on any device. All you need is your authorization code. And it's important to publicize the app for voting and pre-registration. So I'm a precinct chair, and what I do is about 2 weeks before the caucus, I put a flyer on every door in the precinct that says, download this app. We're going to use it for voting. We're going to get out of here in less than 2 hours. And also, please pre-register using this app. And pre-registration will help you to skip the lines. And then make arrangements so that when people arrive at the precinct, they'll be given a authorization code at check-in. Everybody has to get their own unique authorization code. So let me tell you how to get those. Let me tell you how to get the app first. So you're just going to go to either the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store, do a search for CaucusClick and download it. And this is what it looks like. There's the icon, and once you get it, this will be the first screen that you come to. Now the section at the top is for pre-registration, and I've kind of explained this is how people can go on to the app and pre-register in advance so they don't have to stand in line at the caucus. There's more information about that in the Register Click caucus video. But you're going to tap on vote, and here's the first thing that everyone is going to see is enter your authorization code. When you tap on that, now this is how you get your codes. There's a button here at the bottom that says how to get a code, and it'll give you some instructions to follow. And when you do that, you will put in your email address, and the system will email you a package of codes. Now you're going to get 20 codes for testing, and these codes are formatted to fit on Avery labels. I believe it's the 5160 label format. What I like to do is print on the labels and then peel them off and stick them on a 3x5 card. It's a little bit easier to manage that way. But if you don't have a stack of label stock in your house, then just use a paper cutter or a pair of scissors and cut these slips up into individual slips of paper. And then you can just hand those out to people as they arrive. Now, 4 days before the caucus, you'll use this exact same process to get the real codes. And that is not more than 4 days. So 4 days or less, you'll get 250 codes, and that'll be the live codes for your precinct meeting. And if you need more than 250, then you need to contact support@cerenimbus.com. Don't try to get two sets of 250 codes, because you'll have two different meetings. So people who have one set of codes won't be able to vote in the same meeting as the other set of codes. And just remember Iowa, practice and test in advance. So we make sure that we have got this whole process running like a smooth top. Now everybody needs a code, and you will too. You need the manager code. And the manager code will give you additional menu items for managing the voting that no one else will see. You know this is the manager code first because it's the first one, but also it says manager code right next to it on the label. So you will enter your manager code here. Everyone else will enter their codes, and then everyone will get this screen on the app. So this is what everyone does to vote, and it's very simple. So after you put in your authorization code, then you can get a ballot and vote. You can look at your own vote history and see how your vote was recorded. You can see the ballot results for a particular ballot. Now we don't have a we're not assuming that you have an overhead projector or something that you can show everyone, what the results are. So in CaucusClick, everyone can see the results the same as you. So all voters, when the voting is closed, can click on View Ballot Results, and everyone gets the same screen. It's completely transparent and complete accountability. Okay, and there's that log out button that you can use if you want to pass your device to another person. And this is what you will see. This Manage Meeting button is what the meeting manager will see that no one else does. Now when you tap on Manage Meeting, you get this. And again, it's a very simple step-by-step process. First, you prepare a ballot. Then, just like a paper ballot voting, you have to open the voting. When the voting is open, people can get a ballot and vote. Then, when everyone's had a chance to vote, you're going to close voting. And then you'll be able to preview the ballot results if you want to see it ahead of everyone else. No one else can see the ballot results until you click on Release Ballot Result. So as soon as you get to Release Ballot Result, you just tell everyone, okay, now view the ballot result, and then you can describe what happened, and that's how people know what the results of the election were. Now, when you prepare a ballot, you'll get these choices. For example, you can clone a previous ballot, which is if you, for example, have 6 people running for precinct chair, and you have the election and only one drops off, then instead of creating a new ballot where you have to put in 5 names, you can clone the previous ballot, delete a name, and now you've got your new ballot. So it's a big time saver. But let's go to create a ballot. You'll get a screen like this. Number of votes for each voter is just what it says. So if you are electing, let's say you're electing 5 delegates, and you've got 9 people running, well then everybody can vote for 5 delegates. And then those who get a majority can win, and then if you don't get a majority, you drop some off and vote again. So this tells you how many votes each person can cast in this election. Then there's also some other options there which are obvious, but you're going to fill in the name of the vote description, like the precinct chair, and then to get the selections, you just tap in that lower section. You'll get a keyboard, and then you type in the names, followed by a carriage return, name, carriage return, until you have all the choices that people are going to have. Then you tap on Create Vote. Then you'll go back to your manager screen, and you have to open the voting. Now, if you want to vote, you'll have to click on Vote and go back to the vote screen, which is what everyone's using. So everyone will see this screen, and you have to tell them, all right, now tap on Get Ballot and Vote. This is why we don't need an instructional video for the people using the app to vote, because you're going to tell them what to do. All right, get a ballot and vote. And then after you've released the ballots, you can tell them, okay, now tap on View Ballot Result. So you can see that you want to practice this a little bit ahead of time. Get a couple phones together so you can see what happens on the voter screen as opposed to your screen. Get your family, get your precinct officers together, get the people who are going to help you with a check-in, or people who are going to assist others in voting, and so they can see what it's going to be like. So once the person taps on Get Ballot and Vote, then they're going to see this ballot. And it tells you how many to vote for. Select 1 out of 5 choices. It could say select 3 or select 2 or whatever. So they just tap on the row there. It marks it. And then when they tap on Record Vote, it gives them a message. Okay, this is the election we're voting in. You recorded a vote for Martha. It'll tell them exactly what they voted for. It's a double check. And then if they want to change their vote, they can. Or if they hit OK, then it keeps that vote. As I said before, you can vote as many times as you want, but it only keeps the last vote cast for each authorization code. Now, you just follow these steps through. So after everyone's done voting, give people a couple minutes and say, okay, has everyone had a chance to vote? All right, 1 minute left. Okay, then close voting. Now, you can view the ballot results privately yourself in advance. If you wish, you're the chair. You can see it before everyone else does. That's in Robert's Rules. However, you can go right to Release the Ballot Results, and then everyone can see it at the same time. And then after you've released the ballot results, you can just start again with Prepare a Ballot for the next vote. This is how the vote results will look. There's each person who got votes. It'll give you the number of votes and their percentage, so that you can easily see right away those people who have a majority, even if it's more than one person. All right, so remember this. You need to get your 20 codes and do some vote testing with your precinct officers, your family, or your favorite voting buddies, or other precinct chairs that are training, whatever you want to do. And then within 4 days of the caucus, make sure to request your 250 live codes, live authorization codes for the caucus meeting. If you have any questions, you can contact support at cerenimbus.com. We created this voting app so that we can make the caucus experience faster and get people out of there so they can have a good, pleasant experience and preserve the caucus system. So I'm hoping that with this voting app we can have much faster caucus meetings, and it makes it more rewarding for people to attend and will strengthen the caucus system and make people want to participate in the future.